I had to come to a point in my military career where I had to make a very important decision, and it was in regard to my transition from a military man, something I did for the past 8 years straight out of high school, into a family father figure, i.e., a normal civilian, right? Well, let me tell you why that's some of the hardest decisions that military members make in the event that there is a civilian watching this and they don't understand. Listen to a couple things here that I think will shed some light on why. The military forms a brotherhood, okay? And the brotherhood is something that some people refer to as shoulder to shoulder, okay? When you're interlocked arms and you are shoulder to shoulder going through very tough, difficult situations, whatever the case may be, you guys are in it until you guys separate, okay? And it's more than one person. And someone that you have never met, that you will spend the next 6 to 9 months, not just boot camp, but if you guys get the opportunity to go on a deployment or a training exercise or whatever the case it is, there are people that you will meet that will have your back no matter what. And that is a very powerful thing to ask for someone to do for you, especially in a potentially dangerous area that you may be traveling in, around, through, whatever the case is. Because normally on the outside world, people are very selfish, which is in similarity to a crabs in a bucket mentality. Just for the simple fact that you have to work out together, you go through things together, that person becomes somewhat like a family member to you. And you don't really want to separate from them, because they basically know your whole history of who you are, your personality, and you form these different relationships and bonds through adversity. So therefore, leaving that becomes very challenging, because once you're in this outside world, no one cares about you. They don't care what you do, they don't care who you are. The list can go on. I had to come to that term with myself. Just as a civilian, you guys understand a slight bit concept of why that's a very hard thing to do. And some people have had no structure, and the military provided them structure. Some people, they wanted to fulfill a purpose and feel meaningful to someone or towards something, like an objective. They're accomplishing these missions, they feel great, and they love that atmosphere or the type of people that they're around. So I was in a Riverine unit for about 6 years out of my 8-year contract. And the people there, phenomenal. You have room to excel, to achieve different things. I personally like just being a machine gunner, because I felt like I had a purpose to fulfill in taking out, if that came to be the decision that I had to make. And based on my upbringing and what was already visible to me, it wasn't uncommon. So therefore, there was no hesitation for me, if that came to be the choice that had to be made, to preserve the life of others, which that would be a whole separate video in itself. When we came to this point, I had been on deployment, a quote red zone or combat deployment, whatever you want to call it, to the Horn of Africa. We did security there, we did some bomb searching there. We also did we worked a little bit with EOD. Well, I did specifically, me and one other guy. They call it a vetting team. We'll get more into that later. And I really liked the atmosphere and the caliber of people that I was with. I also got to work a little bit with the Texas National Guard. You guys are pretty neat. I like you guys. Not many Marines there though. So I went on this deployment. We did like 300 something missions or whatever. Night missions were pretty awesome. And I came back home. My next step was to go to this volunteer group. They have SEAL Team 17 and 18 down there. And my slot was open for my rating that I can go volunteer to support them in their operations, their missions, whatever. That was the coolest thing in the world for me. I was like, oh man, I get to go down there, and not knowing what I'm going to walk into, but it didn't bother me at that point. I wanted the next level. I wanted the next tier. I was all for it. Sign me up. So when it came to that, I came back from deployment. did all my stuff, had to do my PFT as always. Now, the qualifications for that, you need 3 years in a row, perfect scores. You need to do at least one combat deployment, and you need to earn your warfare pin within your unit, which I did all three. So my next step was just to go there. Had a new guy do it, messed up some paperwork. You know how that goes if you don't keep a copy of stuff. It's your word's as good as nothing unless they try to fix it. By that time, I had gotten disqualified from the volunteer because of my missing score on a PFT, which eliminated my 3 years in a row. I have been 100% at the top since I got in. So for me, it's pretty disheartening. And I came to that conclusion with the end of my contract. Like, do I stay in? Do I give another 3 years? Like, what if this happens in between? I'm not sure what to do. I want to start a family and stuff like that. How's that going to look? Because I'm an all-in type of guy and I don't give up. So I know I'm going straight to the top with this. And that might not exactly work well. But once you sign the contract, that's it. You're owned. So I had to make a decision. I said, well, I like saving lives. I have saved lives before as a lifeguard, about 23 to 25 to be exact. I, like shooting guns. I'm a very good instructional teacher. I'm very detail oriented. I'm very straightforward in what I want someone to do, and they produce results. Results create a consistency. On top of that, I had a passion for fitness because fitness has gotten me through a boatload of very difficult situations in life. It's greatly improved my mental conditioning. I have helped others become physically fit and change their lives around in some form. And it was a big deal to me to especially stay on top of my game in a type of environment as that is. I wanted to be the best of the best in whatever it is I was doing. So fitness was a very encompassing detail that I needed to implement in my life. Therefore, I said, well, what type of individual am I looking to teach, educate, or motivate, inspire, whatever the case may be? The individuals have to be assets. A lot of people walk around in the world and they don't know that they're an asset, and they may be an asset to their family, themselves. Most people refer to an asset as someone is of special need to a business, but a lot of people don't realize how special they are. Which brings me to my bracelet that I wear here every day. It's a very touchy subject, but I want to be the difference of promoting something in regard to changing the perspective. So instead of 22 a day, it's 22 lives saved. Okay, now whether I save 22, that's a whole nother case, but you don't know unless you try, right? So I came up with the company Direct Asset. This is a direct educational resource hub, whether it's me or other people or like-minded professionals, for you to get something out of it, whether it's physical fitness, mental conditioning, defense, to become an asset for yourself, your family, or others, your own first responder. This is the network where you will come and you will find out what you need, because some people don't need fitness stuff. Some people just strictly need mental conditioning and are not interested in firearms. So I'm trying to encompass everything that is the building blocks of an asset. As a man or woman, you need to know how to protect yourself and others, primarily men, because you are the stronger force of the two human beings in nature, just by DNA and by natural instinct. The man is designed to protect his family. Therefore, you should know how to defend yourself. You should be mentally conditioned to a point where these challenges arise, male or female, you guys can overcome them. Physical fitness, I understand not everybody's into physical fitness to an extreme, but if you want to look good, feel good, and be a presence within a room or take care of your health for your families, this is why this is encompassed within the business. Stay tuned.